The NBA All-Defensive Teams have been released, and Anthony Davis was named to his second career All-Defensive First Team. The Lakers' standout big man and all-star power forward / center receives his second overall vote to the first team. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, here with all the latest Lakers news and rumors, and we're starting off with talking about the defensive stud that is Anthony Davis. Now, one of the biggest reasons he was named to the All-Defensive First Team this year because he was second in the NBA in defensive win shares, and he was one of 5 guys named to that first team, and now we're going to break down all 5 for you right here. Rudy Gobert, of course, the best shot blocking and defensive center in the league. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was named Defensive Player of the Year on a questionable NBA decision, leads the league in defensive win shares with 5 this year. AD with 4.4. Marcus Smart and Ben Simmons were the 2 guards named to the All-Defensive Team, and rightfully so. Ben Simmons had an absolutely outstanding season for Philly. Marcus Smart, of course, doing what he does for the Boston Celtics. And the thing with win shares, let me kind of explain what those are real fast. A win share is basically how many wins you add to your respective team as a defensive player. So if you take Anthony Davis off the floor defensively, basically the Lakers would have lost 4 more games than they would have won if he wasn't as good as he is on the defensive side of the ball. Now, one of the reasons I think Anthony Davis truly deserved Defensive Player of the Year and obviously deserved this first-team all-defensive selection was because of how good the Lakers were as a team defensively as a whole. Their defensive rating was at 106.1, which was 3rd in the entire NBA. Steals per game at 8.6 was 5th in the league. They led the league in blocks per game at 6.6, most of those coming from AD, but also a big thanks to JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, and LeBron in that area. And they were okay at defensive rebounding, but that doesn't play as much into the Defensive Player of the Year and all defensive team selections. Now, Anthony Davis joins elite company as he is named to his first all-defensive team, or the all-defensive first team, with the Lakers. He becomes the first Los Angeles Laker since Kobe Bryant did it in 2011 to be selected to an all-defensive first team. And Kobe got named to 9 of those first teams in his career and 3 times to the all-defensive second team. We know how great of a defender Kobe Bryant was out on the wings, and now the Lakers might have just as dominant of a defender down in the low post with Anthony Davis. And when you can put your name up there with a Laker like Kobe Bryant, you are beginning to solidify your career and really your piece of history with the Los Angeles Lakers with Kobe Bryant and Anthony Davis both being those all-defensive first-team selections. Now, I just mentioned it, and I want to ask you guys, and I think I know what the answer is going to be here. It should be a pretty obvious yes. Did Anthony Davis get robbed of Defensive Player of the Year? Type Y for yes or type N for no. It went to Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think it should have gone to Anthony Davis. But let me know what you guys think. I'm going to make it the pinned comment on today's video. So all you got to do is scroll down and reply if whether or not Anthony Davis got robbed of that Defensive Player of the Year. Let's go to LeBron James, who just broke an NBA record. He has officially passed former Laker Derek Fisher for the most playoff wins of all time. Game 3 came as his 162nd playoff win, and before that, he obviously tied Derek Fisher with his Game 2 win over the Houston Rockets, and this just speaks to how dominant LeBron has been throughout his entire career. So not only with the Lakers, but also with the Cavs and the Miami Heat, wherever he goes, he wins ball games. Now, talking about all-time playoff winners, 4 of the 5 guys in the top 5 for most playoff career wins have at least played 1 season for the Lakers. Now LeBron James with 162. Derek Fisher, who of course won playoff games with the Lakers, the Utah Jazz, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, won 161 playoff games. Tim Duncan spent his entire career with the Spurs, won 157 there. Robert Horry won them with the Lakers, with the Rockets, and with the Spurs at 155. And of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 1 win behind Robert Horry with 154 in his time between the Bucks and the Lakers. Now we all know when it's playoff time, LeBron James goes into playoff mode and he becomes a different animal. In his career, in his illustrious career as a 35-year-old now veteran, 29 points per game, 9 boards, 7 assists, and shoots better than 33% from 3 in the playoffs. And we've seen how great he's been in this series against the Rockets, especially in that Game 3. He truly, truly earned his 162nd playoff career win with the performance that he put up against the Houston Rockets. And For me, LeBron has always been one of my top 3 favorite athletes to watch growing up. Not just NBA players, but athletes as a whole. When I was growing up, LeBron in Cleveland, and even some of the time LeBron spent in Miami and now with the Lakers, he has been one of my all-time favorites. But for you, and I'm sure a lot of you guys might say Kobe Bryant or even Shaquille O'Neal, or maybe you're a newer Laker fan, I want to know, who was your favorite player when you were growing up? I like kind of sharing and interacting in the comment section with stuff like this. And maybe it is LeBron. And if it is, maybe you want to get one of his player jersey shirts at Fanatics. When you go to chatsports.com/Lakers shirts, they're doing a pretty special deal. For a limited time only, Lakers shirts are shipping for free. So go check them out at chatsports.com/Lakers shirts. You can pick up any kind of Lakers shirt you want, whether it's a player jersey shirt or if it's just a generic white Lakers shirt like this, or maybe you want this Boulevard shirt, Hollywood Boulevard shirt like this one. Whatever you want, they're all shipping for free at chatsports.com/Lakers shirts. Go pick yourself up one today so you can rep the Lakers while they're still in the playoffs. Speaking of playoffs, one guy stepped it up in Game 3. Now, a few guys stepped it up, obviously, because the Lakers got the win, but Rajon Rondo off the bench was dominant. And if playoff Rondo is alive, other teams better watch out, because this dude can turn it up a notch when the playoffs roll around. Now, my biggest question for Rondo is, because we saw a bunch of inconsistencies and up and downs from him in the NBA regular season, will we see him consistently be this good in the NBA playoffs? That remains to be seen. But if he can do what he did in Game 3 on a regular basis, teams better watch out, because this Laker team becomes deeper and scarier. He put up 21 points and 9 assists, pulled down 2 rebounds, shot 3 of 5 from beyond the three-point arc, and just showed that when it comes time to step up, Rajon Rondo can do just that. Now, they call him Playoff Rondo for a reason, because his numbers truly do take a jump up when he goes from the regular season into the NBA playoffs. So for his career, he is a 10-point-per-game scorer, 8 assists, 4 boards, 45% from the field, and 31% from 3. All pretty good numbers. But when the playoffs roll around, he's scoring closer to 14 points per game, dishing out more than 9 assists per game, pulling down more than 6 rebounds per game, and shooting it still just as efficiently as he did in the regular season. And if they can get playoff Rondo for the entire stretch of the NBA playoffs, the Lakers are going to be absolutely fantastic, especially when you consider the fact that guys like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Danny Green looked terrible in Game 3. Those are the guys that I think need to step up for the Lakers in Game 4. If Rondo can continue to do it, then maybe it's not as important, and maybe you just need one of Danny Green or KCP to step up. But I'm interested to see what you guys think. Which Lakers, and I think there's really one right answer with Danny Green, really need to step up in Game 4? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now let's get to one last little piece of news that I just wanted to keep you guys updated on as we look ahead to Game 4 between the Lakers and the Rockets. Robert Covington suffered that really weird injury at the end of Game 3 where he ran into Anthony Davis full speed and then went falling back onto the court and got up and his entire face was bleeding. But luckily, he did not suffer a broken nose or a concussion, and Mike D'Antoni says that he will be available to play in Game 4. And so far in the playoffs, Covington has just been a beast. He is giving the Lakers and any other team the Rockets play trouble, as he's been averaging 12.6 points per game, more than two steals, more than 1 block, and shooting better than 50% from 3. That is incredible. And if you guys want to know what happens in Game 4 and you want all the previews, all the recaps, and all the stats and analysis, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want all your Lakers news and rumors in one spot and one spot only, this is the channel to be. So go hit that subscribe button. Join our over 16,000 Lakers subscribers. We're trying to get that up to 20,000. And if the Lakers go to the NBA Finals, I think we're going to get there. We'll just have to see. Now let's talk about Daniel House Jr. This is another guy that I wanted to mention before we get out of here today. He is questionable for Game 4 as he missed Game 3 due to, quote, personal reasons. Those were not coronavirus related, so he should be good to go for Game 4. But D'Antoni says he'll be more of a game-time decision. A big loss for the Rockets because he did start 52 of the 63 games that he played in this season. And he's been really solid in the playoffs, too, averaging double-digit points, pulling down more than 5 boards, and shooting better than 35% from 3. A good athlete and a good defensive player that the Rockets definitely miss. But if he's out for Game 4 and Covington's kind of shaken up, that could bode well for the Los Angeles Lakers. So you made it to the end of the video, so I'm going to let you go ahead and weigh in here at the very end. Who you got for Game 4 Thursday night? Type L for the Lakers, type R for the Rockets. I think it's going to be a close one. The Rockets are going to be coming out with vengeance. They're going to be the team playing with a lot of urgency, but I think the Lakers have figured something out. I think they figured out that when you go to AD, when you go to LeBron early, and you go to them often, you can beat an undersized Rockets team. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.